Good afternoon, Scott T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So this was the first day of the holiday week, a holiday shortened week where we have Christmas Eve tomorrow, Christmas on Wednesday. So hopefully a lot of people are just, staying with some positions they like, trying to manufacture some tactical cash flow. If you're at home or you're in your office still and you're not on the beach, you're in some of the right trades. And, today we had some follow through to what was a really nice, strong move starting on Wednesday. We've been in a strong move all year for most of 2013, but we like to break it down almost like segment by segment on spots where you could have a bit more risk on, have a few more positions versus a spot where you might want to be a bit more neutral and have a little less risk. So, if you talk about last Wednesday when they did the tapering, that was a spot to figure it out. That was a spot that if you were short from the recent highs, think about covering. That was a spot that if you reduced your risk, think about spots you can get involved with and then what you could turn to if things change. You look real quickly at the, the chart here of the SPX, so to speak, and this was that last range. So, at this point, some people are still crying about the market, upset, this and that. Bottom line is this day, just real quickly, you had a lot of spots to make adjustments. And for those on the VTF, you watched us do it live. You watched us go from me having pretty much nothing on, I might even been short when we broke below this, to getting flat, getting back involved in some stocks. This was your red dog reversal either at that prior low or at this low. So that's two spots besides the 50. If you missed that, here is the power to the highs. Okay, that could have been your spot, at least to cover shorts. If you were short, cover there, cover either on the reversal or here. Hopefully, you would cover and then you were looking for some longs in this move into the close, which, I know I chose some banks, a few different tech names. And then if you wanted to wait a day, if you said, oh, you know what, they usually reverse the day after the Fed. You know what, we had digestion, we went sideways, we held the top 25%, and then boom. Okay, now look where we are. All of a sudden, a little bit extended again. So with that being said, that's been the story for the year. There's been 3 or 4 other times when we put in some kind of technical pattern or just some kind of candle that said, you know what, now's the time to reduce a little risk, figure it out, and then after some time, the market proved, yet we can go again. And that's what I'm expecting a lot of in 2014, where everyone's making these bold predictions. Hopefully, you'll tune in for mine that are on their way to be getting done. So with that being said, we're trying to find tactical ways to make money. If you look here at Apple, it came out the China Mobile news. Stock's been a really nice trader for us. Ever since this double bottom here over the summer, it's just been stair-stepping higher, giving us multiple spots to be long. One of the spots that we focused on when it changed was this gap up after earnings, and it held, and then it broke this area, gave you one move. Here was the day Carl Icahn announced that he was going to get involved, and then boom, retested, then it got tight here for a move, then got tight again. And then, on Friday, sometimes you have a little trading intuition or whatnot. And on Friday, I said, you know what, I'm getting back in Apple. Okay, I think on this day I was in a nice amount from Thanksgiving, which was a nice Thanksgiving. Maybe on this day I got back to a little bit more tactical, and then I think I didn't really do much during this entire time period. When it held this prior breakout. We talked about that the day that they said they didn't have the China Mobile deal. That got me interested again. Then you had, Friday's actions. I'm like, let me take some long. Okay, so if you took some long, you had a really nice gap up today. If you didn't have any long and you needed to figure out a way in, I posted a chart today talking about 562. Okay, this low here was what? 562.76. So you could have waited to buy it there. And then later in the day, gave you another little price point when it took out the high of 568.25, which was the morning high. And now, we'll see what happens the next few sessions. Does it just continue to go and blast off and trade through 575.14? Does it need to go sideways a day or two before it? Right now, this is our new point of reference. That's support we're going to trade against. I am still long Apple, but I am in less than I had, coming into today. So some of the trade is booked. If it were to get through this, 575, your next real point of reference here, it comes in around 594. And I think there's a good chance that, we see well north of 600 next year. If you think about it, I think Apple is doing really well here for the holidays, and they've been doing well here for the holidays. So now with this China Mobile deal, they're getting like another fresh set of holidays. So all the bears are like, oh yeah, this quarter is going to be good, next quarter is going to be soft, everyone bought all their stuff. No, next 2 quarters are going to be strong now. And now imagine if they actually, redevelop a phone for the quarter thereafter with a bigger screen. They do it pretty much seamlessly. then that stock is going to be a great one to maneuver for 2014. So if you do like to maneuver Apple, you should be tuning into the virtual trading floor, because when it's in play, it definitely adds cash flow and makes us all smile. We went through a time period when we weren't really buyers, but we weren't really fading it either. We were just like out of the way, the year prior when it broke down. So the last move since the summer has been pretty quality, and it's brought a smile to a lot of our faces. We try not to be just an Apple site, but when Apple moves, you can make money technically. So that's why we gravitate towards. Same way with Twitter, Facebook, social media. That's been a focus of ours this year with the 3D printing stocks, because again, when stocks move through technical levels, you can make money if you're actively trading, and these tend to be the biggest winners that if you held it, you can make money that way too. You look at Twitter today, unbelievable trade, unbelievable power. Look at the power that Twitter had today. Okay, for me, my rule. I usually buy a day one, and then I sell a day, I add day two, and then I sell day three. Okay, first of all, this is when Twitter started to look very exciting, right? Here's when it broke this little trend. This was a little pause, continued, broke the IPO highs, and then boom. We actually caught a little red dog reversal for a day and a half there, and then switched to the long side when it traded above this 2-day high. And then, it closed strong, and then today took off. So for me, I sold into day three, probably a little bit early, but you know what, I'm fine with it. I think some people started to short this thing again today, but that's you. So tomorrow we'll figure out at this point, is it extended from the 8-day the way it was here? A little bit, not as much actually. So with that being said, tomorrow we'll figure out tactically what to do. If you're still long and you're going to say, I'm putting it in the drawer, okay, I think that makes sense. The high tomorrow to navigate around would be 64.99. If it opens lower, maybe we get a red to green. If it opens up, maybe you get a cute short, but try not to be too cute for too long, because it makes you look real ugly. Facebook never came in. It got added to the S&P 500. They took Zuckerberg's shares and right in front of these prior highs, held the 8-day again, and blasted off. I'm sorry that I've been a little, I would say, not active in Facebook for a little while. I got back involved here on this red dog reversal. This was a nice trade when it showed commitment to the break of this descending channel. Another nice trade here. I think I got out of the way somewhere in here where I was like, you know what, all this news back and forth, I'm just going to tactically trade it, and I didn't have any overnight, and I didn't go to it because I had other things going on. But this too, through highs. Hopefully you're not trying to short this. If you're still long, congratulations. Look at this gap here that happened 2 quarters ago. Never got filled. That type of gap tells us we have power in front of us to the upside. That's one of the tactical things we talk about in the swing trade educational class. Same type of gap here you had in Google, which had another nice day. Today, this stock, since earnings, okay, has been really good to the community. Big gap up, quick little bull flag. Remember that one for tactics. And then you had another nice trade right there. And then here's when it broke out into highs, and then you had another breakout into highs, on Friday, and there's your follow through. Now at this point, if you're looking at it tactically, hard to be initiating here. I would have rather you tactically bought it here or bought it there, or even, late last week, and now it's a bit extended. Does it mean it's a short? No, but it means that it's extended from the 8-day, and it's a little bit harder to buy there. Hopefully you had some overnight. I had some overnight, sold it a bit early, but still was a nice trade. So if you were there, good. Amazon, kind of wishy-washy today, but a nice inside day. So depending how it opens tomorrow, maybe you could use this pivot for some more action. As far as Baidu, nothing really to talk about. The banks, Goldman, still extending. It's not really the powerful Goldman Sachs that it once was, but I think a lot of guys have been long it since last week. I've been long it since last week around 171, 172. Yeah, not a blockbuster trade, but not every trade is going to be a blockbuster trade and fast and furious. So sometimes it's good to let something trend with the market, and this is continuing or looks decent. So if you're still there, that's fine. Bank of America, it's wedging again, or it's building a flag. I still think it looks okay. I'd like to see a few more days and maybe some power through this. If it starts to get above 1587, I think that's when the talk will be again for a move back above 16. If it were to trade, just say below 1560, maybe you lighten up a little bit. But overall, still acting well. Nice igniting bar and red dog reversal last Wednesday. In my humble opinion, I think the next, people are like, what's the next 30 cents at Bank of America? I would say, to the upside versus to the downside. Citigroup, is, still not doing anything so great. If you're in it and you're just sitting in it, that's fine. This was when it couldn't break out above that 53. It ignited on that Wednesday, trying again, slowly making its way back up. So if you're in it from this day, stay with it. There hasn't been much of a trade there, though. 3D printers, wow. Look at Triple D. Unbelievable name. Here's when it poked its head out above this recent range. Here was follow through, and then there's your extension. Far away from the moving averages. If you're still long it, congratulations. But at this point, if you're tactically trying to approach it, I would not be a buyer here on this fourth up day. My rule. I like to buy day 1, add day 2, sell day 3. And then if there's a day 4 or 5, I get a little upset, but that's the way it is. I'm not in Triple D. I'm just talking about strategy. As far as the solars, people are like, what about Solar City? Is it getting ready again? It's definitely building again, right? Here was that wide range bar. Here was on Friday it opened up and went red. Today you had a small red dog reversal. So with a bit of time, it could get going again. It's worthy to put on the radar. As far as the group though, it's just been a little lethargic down here. Hasn't been really the place to be, but overall, if you trade the solars, just make sure it stays above 34-ish for the tan. Is Tesla today, not much action. I don't see a compelling pattern here yet either. I guess you could say here's resistance. This is where it met actually resistance earlier last week, right into these moving averages. It was a nice trade for us from down here. And now I just think it's not sure what it wants to do. I'm not saying it's broken, but this trend broke right around here. Hopefully you didn't take it long for earnings, because that's what we don't do. We don't take usually things into earnings. We take options. And now it's trying to figure out what's next. And with that being said, trade it maybe on 3 and 5 minute time frames, because the daily chart doesn't have a setup there. So with all that being said, it was Monday. Hopefully you had a little Apple overnight. If you did, and people were asking me, should you stay with it? I think you can, but with a little less. Just in case, if we did open down in Apple tomorrow, I think we can get a negative to positive move. Some are asking me, what's the risks out there right now this week? The only risk that I kind of really see is what was going on in China as far as the Shibor, as far as the yields and that liquidity talk there. So far it's been contained. If that starts getting out of whack, then all of a sudden 10 down days in China turns into a huge down day tomorrow. Maybe that would affect our futures. So that's something I would just maybe think about. As far as what could happen on Apple, I guess if there was some kind of really news that they're giving it away, their margins are going to get hit, blah, 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 that would be negative. But other than that, I think that hopefully we don't see some news there for a while, and it just works its way higher. The banks didn't make highs today with the markets, but I think the patterns are getting tight for something, so we'll see if it's worthy of an add. Home builders were strong today. We talked about them, but I didn't do anything. Hopefully you did something there. Lots of pockets of great patterns. We're not going to be in everything. Hopefully you're reading off the charts, the price point sheet. You're watching the VTF with the other commentators. You see the tweets. You see a lot going on. And you don't have to be in everything to make a living. You just need to be in some. And if you could start connecting all the time frames from macro investing to intermediate trends to actively trading, then you really start putting some money away and doing well for yourself. As far as the end of the year, we're almost there, so we're working on the 2014 thesis. I did an interview with Darsie, the editor-in-chief, last week. Kind of broke it down into 7 or 8 little segments, talking about some of my experience, some of the things I've learned, some of the things I look for. Very educational, so look for those, and I would watch each one of those. And if you want to prepay for the 2014 thesis, it's cheaper today than it will be in the future. And it's not a lot of money for what we're putting in there. So hopefully you put your best foot forward, because you could read 2013 and 12, and lots of nice stuff in there to get yourself thinking on the right path and getting you prepared. So this way, when things trigger, or if they trigger, you know why we're looking at it, and then you could have some conviction or more conviction to get more size, hold it longer, and in turn make more money, because that's what we're all trying to do. Make more money, enjoy life, and have some fun while doing it. With that said, hope you had a nice day. See you tomorrow morning. I'll only be in a half day, and stay dry if you're on the Northeast.